He's cute. Oh. Hey. Hey guys, welcome back to my channel, the best place to learn how to lose weight without losing your love for food. My name is Megan and I'm a registered dietitian. And I took to my Instagram, shameless plug, go follow me on Instagram at Nutrition Undefined, and I asked my followers, what are your burning nutrition questions? What do you want to know that I can answer from my perspective as a dietitian? And I also asked my friends and family and got a few questions from them. So here we go. This is on the spot. I have not prepared these questions. I'm just gonna read them and I'm gonna answer them with whatever comes to my mind first. So here we go. Here are your burning nutrition questions. And make sure you stay till the end of the video so you can see if I answered your burning question. Question number one, and this is one from my friend, also a dietitian. Her name is Zenaida and she has an awesome Instagram account as well. It's called The Nourishing Doll and she posts some amazing recipe videos on there. You have to go follow her right now. I'm gonna put the handle right here. But this question comes from her, so thank you for submitting your question. And her question was, where to start with gardening and any resources that helped you start. So if you guys follow me on Instagram or have followed me this past summer, you saw that I have been gardening. I have learned a few things from it that I will love to share with you, and I'm hoping to make a more in-depth video about it next spring or summertime. So I will say this, I started by planting some herbs. I didn't even plant them with seeds, I just bought starters at Home Depot and I planted them in little pots and put them in my window. I had a, come on up, up. He's cute. Oh. Hi. And I did that for quite a few months before even ever planting anything outside. And so I think that is a great place to start, especially if you don't have a lot of outdoor space either, but it also helps you practice taking care of plants. So I would start with some simple herbs. Don't do too many at a time, and it also depends on which ones you do. Some herbs I had an easier time with than others. I would always recommend doing chives because chives are super easy for some reason. Just give them water every once in a while and they will grow. And I've had these chives for I think a year now, and they've actually moved with me from California to Idaho and they have survived the entire time. So chives are a great one to start with. Another really easy one you could start with is rosemary, especially if you buy these as starters. They pretty much just live pretty well for you and they're fine. They have been surviving really well in my personal experience, so those ones I would say are great to start with. I also use chives in pretty much everything I make if I get the chance, so for me that one's really useful. Now, one that is a little trickier and it's frustrating because I think a lot of people love this one, but it's also been really hard to keep it alive. I've actually lost 3 plants now of this, but that would be basil. Basil is actually really tricky to grow, and I think probably my problem is that I wasn't using it quickly enough. I wasn't really actually putting it in my foods and using it, so it was kind of just sitting on the plant and then it died. And this happened to me 3 times. So I would be careful starting with basil because it is hard to keep alive. It's very sensitive to how much water you put in it, and I still haven't found out the trick to keeping it alive. Other ones that I have that haven't been too bad are oregano, thyme. Those are the main ones. But for sure, chives and rosemary are a great place to start. Now that's for planting herbs indoors. If you want to start planting produce outside for whenever your season begins, here are a few things that you can keep in mind. Remember that I'm still a beginner. These things are just from my personal experience, so I'm not an expert in this whatsoever. but I had a lot of success this year at growing a garden, and so here's a few simple takeaways that I took from it. Number one, start small and start with things that you know are more likely to grow. Zucchini, squash, tomatoes, and lettuce. I would say those are 4 of the easiest things to grow. And I grew all of those things this summer, and I've gotten an abundance of all of them. I don't even know what to do with all of them. I haven't even had time to pick all of them yet. So those ones are good ones to start with because they grow pretty well, and I basically did the bare minimum. I made sure to water my garden every day. Weeding is also really important, and I started out really strong on this, and I was weeding a lot, and then right now there are tons of weeds in my garden, so that's something I need to work on next time. But especially in the beginning, it's really important to keep those weeds out because they suck up all the nutrients, and we want our plants to grow, not the weeds. There are other things that I think other gardeners do in terms of like fertilizing the soil and using plant food, which I don't know a lot about. And so this summer I didn't really do much of that. I will say this is that we put some mulch in the soil before actually planting anything when we were prepping the whole garden space. If you have some sort of compost pile, then you want to mix that in with the soil. Other than that, I didn't really do much with the soil. I didn't fertilize it or anything. I didn't spray pesticides on any of it, and I still turned out with a ton of produce. So I would start simple, start small. So those are kind of the basic takeaways that I've gotten from growing my garden this year. Okay, on to the next question, and this one is how to control cravings. What an amazing question, right? We all have cravings, don't we? We have those moments when we just want a piece of chocolate, or for me, I want a milkshake or Thai food. I think this can be frustrating when you're trying to lose weight and all of a sudden you are starving for a certain food. So I guess I have a few things that I could say about this just off of the top of my head. Number one, a great way to kind of avoid this ravenous craving for a food is not only to balance your meals throughout the day, but make sure you are eating enough throughout the day. Not skipping meals, eating when you are hungry. It's going to help you have an energy balance throughout the day, and then late at night or whenever it is that you crave certain foods, you're less likely to crave them because you're full, you're satisfied, you've had a balance of fuel throughout the day, and you're not going to worry about it. Another thing that I would say in regards to cravings is sometimes it's okay to give into those cravings. It's okay to give yourself permission to eat those foods because our body is saying, we really want this food. And I'll tell you from personal experience, at times when I do have cravings for things, if I go and try to eat something else that's not really anything like the food that I was craving, later on I'm still going to be craving that food even if I'm full, and I'm probably just going to give in and actually eat the food that I originally wanted. And this just means you're getting even more calories, an even greater excess of calories than you would have if you would have just eaten the original food. So some days, if you have a rough day, or if you have a day where you're not balancing your meals throughout the day and all of a sudden you're just craving a burger and a milkshake, sometimes you just want to go eat that burger and milkshake. And there's nothing wrong with that. It's okay to eat that. As long as this does not become our default, that is something we do very frequently, it's not going to be a problem. It's not going to keep you from losing weight if you just do this every once in a while. You get to decide, when am I going to eat some of these foods that I'm craving, and when am I going to try a little bit harder to eat things that are going to fuel my body and make my body feel good. It's okay to give into them some of the time, but also you will have less cravings if you are able to balance your meals and have consistent energy throughout the day. And if you guys want to learn more about how I suggest to balance your meals, leave me a comment down below and I can make a video on it. Hey guys, so as I was sitting here editing this video with my impatient doggy, we realized that this video was way too long, and so what we did was we split it into 2 parts, and the next part is coming out next week, so you're gonna have to wait and see if I finished answering your burning questions. So, Bailey, what should they do? You should make sure you like this video, subscribe, and hit the bell for notifications so you don't miss when part 2 comes out. All right, have a great day, guys. Bye.